Hi, I'm Janelle from Project School Wellness, and this is a quick video on the health skill of analyzing influences. So, analyzing influences is one of the core health skills outlined in the National Health Education Standards. So, what does it mean? So, analyzing influences means to analyze how people and things in your life impact how you think, feel, and act. So, this is the process of identifying the influences in our life and then having or doing a critical assessment on how each of those things change and influence the way I feel and the things I think about and the way that I choose to act and behave. So, why does this matter? Why do we need to learn how to analyze influences? Well, your well being is constantly being impacted by the people and things you're being influenced by. So, whether we recognize it or not, whether we choose to be influenced by certain things, our well being is constantly being impacted by the people we surround ourselves with and by the things that we consume in terms of media and the places that we choose to go to and the communities that we're in. So, each of these things deeply impacts our well-being and our ability to live healthy lives. So how do we actually analyze influences? So let's look at this step-by-step guide. So the first step is to actually identify potential influences. So think about who and what are the things that are influencing your life. And then 2 would be to define how the influences change the way you feel, think, and act. So once you've defined influences, then we want to think, okay, now how does this person change the way I feel, think, and act? How does this media content that I consume influence how I feel, think, and act? How does watching this show, or how does this certain social media influencer, how do they impact you? And then after you define how they impact, step 3 is to assess whether or not those changes are positive and negative. And most likely it's probably going to be a little bit of a mix, right? And you're going to have to think critically about whether there's more positives than negatives, or if maybe there's only a few negatives, but they're really, really big, important negatives and something that you just don't want to have a part of in your life. And then the last step is to create a plan on how you're going to focus on the positive and you're going to limit the negative influences. So let's take a look at what are some possible or example influences or common influences in life. So our family deeply influences us. School, so this could be what we study in school, it could be the policies, it could be, the other students that we're with, it could be our teachers. All of those different parts of school can be an influence in your life. Your peers, so these are other people that you're same age, going through similar life experiences. So this may be really deep, close personal friends, or it may be classmates or teammates that you interact with on a regular basis, but you're not necessarily super close with. They can all influence how you feel, think, and act. Then we have culture. So culture refers to the common characteristics of a group of people, like language, food, entertainment, and beliefs. So in your life, there are a couple of cultures that you probably exist within. So if, for example, if you live in the United States of America, then that America as a whole is going to be a culture, and then depending on where you live is going to be a culture, and depending if you are a part of a certain religious group, that's going to be another culture, and then depending on where you live within a community and your school, all of those different aspects of culture influence you greatly. And then media. So media refers to the mass forms of communication such as TV, movies, books, music, social media influencers, news. These are all different elements of the media, and they greatly impact the way you think about life, the things you think about. They influence how we feel about ourselves, how we feel about other people, how we just feel in a given moment, and how we act. So those are 5 examples of really important influences that we all experience in our life, and we need to be really critical about analyzing them and making sure that they are influencing us in a positive way. So just a real quick example would be like a social media account. So if we follow a certain social media account and we want to think about, okay, how do they influence my behavior? How do they influence how I feel, think, and act? So that first thing we identified, who the social media account is. And then we're going to think about, okay, how do they make me feel, think, and act? So for example, I follow some people on social media that when I see them, they make me feel, a little bit insecure because maybe they are super fit and they are traveling all over and their house is perfect and all these things. So they don't really make me feel super secure. And then how I start to think about, these different things like, oh, I wish I had that, or I wish I looked like that, or I wish I had those clothes. And then how I act, maybe maybe it motivates me to go do something different in life, or maybe it makes me kind of like draw into myself and not really want to engage with the real world around me, and therefore it negatively impacts my well-being. So then I need to decide, okay, most of those things are negative, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to unfollow this person. That's an example. All right, so just remember to analyze the influences in your life often. Be really critical of how influences are changing the way you feel, think, and act, and then be proactive in choosing how you engage with each of those influences. So if you want to learn more about how to analyze influences, please check out projectschoolwellness.com.